If you've ever felt like you're failing at food and no matter what you try, you just can't stop yourself overeating and hating your body, this used to be me. My name's Georgina Wright and I'm an intuitive eating counsellor. And after spending years and years and years hating my body and doing every diet under the sun, in an attempt to be thin and what I thought would be happier, I realised that that wasn't actually at all helpful. And that's when I discovered intuitive eating. It's transformed my life, and my aim is to share videos like this to offer you the hope that it can transform your life as well. So this video is really about my journey into intuitive eating. What was the catalyst and what was the outcome of changing to an intuitive eating approach. So my first diet I ever went on, I remember it was when I was 18, which seems like a lifetime ago now. And I suppose I was quite lucky that I hadn't started dieting any sooner, but I do remember being a bit body conscious during my teenage years. So there was obviously something underpinning my body image around that time. And when I went to university, I compared myself to all the other girls at university and thought, oh, I need to be thinner. And that was what was the catalyst for the first diet. If I'm thinner, I'll be happier, was my logic at the time. So I went off and did a diet. I lost weight quite quickly and I thought, brilliant, that's all I need to do. But, and the big but is, I started to get cravings for different foods that weren't on the diet plan. And I'm sure many of you are nodding along with this, thinking, yes, I've been in exactly the same position. And I had some cravings for non-diet foods, and then I overate those foods because I'd not had them for a while on the diet. And then I thought, oh, I'll have to start the diet again, start again on Monday. And off I went. And that continued for years. I got into this diet cycle where I was just constantly chasing the next diet. And interestingly, what happened, I was pursuing weight loss, but actually, the more diets I did over the years, the more my weight actually went up. And during those years of dieting, which was like nearly a decade's worth, I just kept putting on more and more weight, feeling more and more unhappy, and ultimately just blaming myself, thinking it was my fault. Why couldn't I just eat like normal people? And the answer just had to be more willpower and more strictness. That was my understanding at the time, which is why I kept doing more and more diets. But during that time, I'd also gone from having a fairly okay relationship with food, just a little bit of, like I said, some sort of image issues in earlier in life, but they were quite mild. To developing, overeating. I became, I had binge eating episodes and a lot of overeating, and my eating was really chaotic as well. So that hadn't been an issue before the diets, but it certainly was during those years of dieting. And I really just reached a bit of a rock bottom moment, to be honest, where I thought, what am I going to do next? Because the diets aren't working. And I'm just exhausted with them. And that's when I discovered intuitive eating in my 30s. And for me, my first experience of it was reading the book. And it was such a relief to finally understand why I was eating the way I was eating and not coming from a place of criticism and guilt. And that was where I then thought, this is definitely the approach for me. And I went off and got the workbook. So if you don't know what intuitive eating is, it's the self-care framework based around 10 different principles that aim to help you get back in touch back in touch and trust with your body again, so that you can actually begin to learn to use your inbuilt hunger and fullness cues that you were born with, that often get dismantled as we grow up from various different dieting influences that can come from society at large, family, friends, educational settings, etc. So that's where that underpinning begins. And so the framework aims to help you restore hunger and fullness cues, but also come back home to yourself as well. So there's a scientific part, and if you're into spirituality, there's a spiritual message to take from it as well. So rather than outsourcing all of your knowledge and wisdom into a diet or, following what somebody else says, this work actually teaches you that you can trust that your body has the answers. and you can learn to listen and reconnect with those. So the other parts of intuitive eating are looking at any emotional eating patterns that you might have that are affecting your connection with yourself and food in your body. There's areas that cover body image, and then also looking at dismantling food rules that might be getting in your way and holding you back from really gaining that full trust of yourself and being at peace around food, as well as supporting your health. And then towards the end of the framework is a module on movement and also on nutrition. So it's an all-encompassing, really supportive framework that really, really will transform your life for the better. And the reason I believe it works so well, and why it works so well for me, is it's not just about your physical health, but it doesn't ignore that either. It includes your physical health, your mental health, and your emotional well-being. And the aim of that is that you can then do the work and move forwards with your life, not being fearful around foods anymore, not worrying about overeating or feeling guilty about eating. And once you've made peace with all those parts of yourself, um, your food choices really do reflect that message, and it allows you to nourish your body, and still enjoy food fully, but not feel like it's controlling you anymore. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I went through the framework, and it just, yeah, absolutely transformed my life. It's difficult to put it into words, really, how amazing. I think the biggest thing I got out of it was the freedom that it's given me, the trust in myself, which has had a ripple effect into being more trusting in other areas of life. And I'm in the best health I've ever been thanks to intuitive eating. So, I couldn't really speak any more highly of it. But equally, it can be quite a brave step to take if you've done lots of diets. You might be watching this and feel at rock bottom, but also be scared to start to trust yourself again, which is really common. So, in answer to that possible question you might have, I've got a freebie. Just linked down below, and it's the Beginner's Guide to Intuitive Eating. So you're welcome to download that if you wish and have a look and see what you think. And then if you've got any questions, do just let me know. But I hope that video was helpful. And for any of you that are just sat there doing lots and lots of diets and just feeling so frustrated, I see you, I understand you, and I've been exactly where you are. And there really is hope to feel differently and transform your health as an intuitive eater.